You see a photo on Instagram, a small private island surrounded by turquoise waters, palm trees standing in the middle of the sand, and almost instantly a thought crosses your mind. Could I buy an island? Why not? It seems like the ultimate dream, the pinnacle of success, something only billionaires can afford. But you're completely mistaken because right now you can find hundreds of private islands for sale in the United States. It just takes a little research. Some are even cheaper than an apartment or an office in Paris. What will surprise you isn't the purchase price, but the fact that everything that comes after is a bit of a hassle. But you'll be an island owner. Isn't it worth it? Let's start by dispelling the most common misconception, the idea that an island must cost an unimaginable fortune. In the US, particularly in states like Maine, New York, Michigan, or Florida, there's a massive market for small, private islands, often uninhabited. These islands sell for between $50,000 and $500,000. Prices can sometimes be even lower for tiny islets under 1 hectare in the remote northern lakes. But rest assured, they can be found with a little research. The price depends almost entirely on four factors: proximity to the mainland, access to electricity and drinking water, the presence of existing structures, and above all, local jurisdiction. Since every U.S. state has its own rules regarding island ownership, some islands are protected areas where construction is prohibited, while others are completely open to development. This is where the misconception is completely debunked. The purchase transaction is almost never the real obstacle. What truly holds most buyers back is the moment immediately after the contract is signed, the moment the project truly begins. Let's start exploring these topics. Your excitement will grow as we continue. Because an island with limited access to the mainland is not just an ordinary piece of real estate, it is in every sense an engineering project. And grasping this early on is the most important factor that sets successful island owners apart from the rest. Let's take a concrete example. The purchase price of a 3 hectare island in Maine might be $180,000. This price might seem almost laughable compared to a similar property on the mainland. However, the moment you want to spend a weekend there with running water and electricity, the bill quietly begins to rise. And that's exactly where the real planning begins. The upfront cost may be low, but you also need to plan for the long term. If the island is close enough to the mainland to lay an underwater cable, the cost of an underwater electrical connection ranges from $15,000 to $100,000, depending on the distance and water depth. And in most cases, this option is not technically feasible, which leads owners to turn to solar panels paired with generators. Depending on the power requirements, the cost of this complete system, which can supply electricity to a small home, ranges from $20,000 to $60,000. This setup also looks incredibly impressive to future guests. Drinking water, however, is an even more insidious problem, because as you might expect, on an island surrounded by water, there's usually no access to fresh water at all. This means that if geological conditions permit and it is engineering feasible, a well must be drilled at a cost of $10,000 to $30,000. This one-time investment pays for itself many times over. Alternatively, a desalination system that converts salt water into drinking water can be installed. Let's weigh the pros and cons. This technology requires an initial investment of $15,000 to $50,000. Since these machines break down more frequently than you might expect in a corrosive marine environment, regular maintenance costs must also be factored in. However, most island owners consider this a small price to pay for true independence. And here's one more simple yet crucial detail that very few people know before getting started: the dock. Because once you have it, your island becomes instantly accessible and fully functional. This is the single improvement that transforms an isolated piece of land into a true destination. Building a sturdy pier capable of withstanding Atlantic storms costs between $20,000 and $80,000, and you can choose between more affordable treated wood and galvanized steel. An investment that will last for decades. Two strategies. It's up to you to choose the one that best fits your vision for the island and your long-term plans. While choosing the long-term option may seem better, the short-term, low-cost option is also a viable choice. In addition, there's another smart detail that savvy investors plan for from day one: transporting construction materials by barge or boat. Logistics are always important. Although this cost is generally 20 to 40% higher than in the mainland, it certainly isn't a problem when planned properly. Experienced builders know exactly how to schedule deliveries based on tides and weather conditions. Here's another issue that experienced property owners must plan for carefully: construction time. A project that would take 6 weeks on the mainland can take 4 to 5 months on an island. However, far from being an obstacle, this timeline becomes a strategic opportunity to prepare your marketing and launch your project before your first customer arrives, turning the waiting period into full momentum. Costs are rising, but don't let that scare you. If you add up the cost of land acquisition, the electrical system, access to drinking water, the pier, and construction logistics, you'll arrive at a total project cost of between $350,000 and $450,000. This is a solid investment to turn a dream into a real business, and many buyers recoup this investment in just a few profitable seasons. Here's the truly exciting part: the difference between owning an island purely for personal enjoyment and turning it into a real source of income. Two distinct paths that start from exactly the same point but lead to two completely different futures. The thrill of buying one island and using the proceeds to buy a second. If you purchase the island solely for your own use, everything remains exactly as we left it. However, if your goal is to turn this island into a luxury vacation rental, an exclusive event venue, a honeymoon retreat, or small ecotourism facility, then a world of unmissable opportunities, ones that most people wouldn't even dream of, opens up before you. The first step toward this success is obtaining your tourism business license from the county or state. This process typically takes anywhere from 6 months to 2 years, and this time frame is ideal for perfecting every detail of your project, from branding to reservation systems, before the grand opening. We're trying to buy an island and open it for business. That's all there is to it. An environmental impact assessment, which generally costs between $8,000 and $30,000, is part of this process. Once approved, this assessment becomes a genuine marketing asset that demonstrates your commitment to being responsible and respectful of your island's ecosystem. It's a story that guests truly enjoy hearing. One detail you should know: of course, there's the tax aspect. Once commercial use approval is granted, the tax classification changes. The annual property tax can increase by 30 to 60%. However, this is the startup cost of a profitable business, and as we'll see shortly, the first successful season will more than recoup this cost. I think opening it for commercial use is a good idea. If you want, you don't have to rent it out on weekends. You can keep those for yourself. Who wouldn't want a barbecue party with friends on their own private island? And of course, there's also the local tourism tax, which ranges from 5 to 12% of the amount you collect. This is a simple mechanism you can incorporate into your pricing, just as all hotels and luxury rental properties across the country already do without guests even noticing. I have to mention the tax issue. It's not exactly a pleasant topic, but it's not the end of the world either. Now let's talk about insurance, an indispensable pillar of your peace of mind. It's an investment that protects your dream and allows you to sleep soundly knowing your island is safeguarded against the unexpected, no matter what the season brings. Insurance is one of the absolute essentials of this business. You're on an island and you never know what might happen. The annual cost of a comprehensive commercial insurance policy ranges from $8,000 to $25,000. When compared to the income potential we'll discuss shortly, this investment represents a fully justified layer of protection for such a valuable asset. If you insure your car, not insuring your island would be sheer madness. The most meticulous island owners equip their islands with a defibrillator and a certified first aid kit and arrange for a medical evacuation service. These features put your guests at ease and reinforce your property's excellent reputation. They're small details that build great trust. In an environment where calling an ambulance isn't exactly easy, you'll need certain supplies even for a minor cut on the hand. And as with any successful business, sound legal preparation protects you. A contingency budget of $5,000 to $20,000 is more than enough to safeguard your business against potential setbacks and unexpected events, allowing you to focus entirely on growth rather than worrying. Some precautions are worth taking from the very beginning. Now, here's the part that will really get you excited. It's time to start making money. The true financial potential of a well-managed island. A private island in the U.S. can be rented for between $800 and $5,000 per night. This nightly rate easily outstrips the prices of traditional mainland properties, sometimes by a factor of 10 or more. People are now looking for something different for their special occasions. This island could be a great alternative for those with this mindset. Of course, the actual occupancy rate generally hovers between 20% and 35% throughout the year. This is a crucial figure you need to be aware of so that you can develop a realistic and sound strategy, rather than relying on overly optimistic calculations that will leave you disappointed. You need to plan with this in mind. The first year is always difficult. It's hard to turn 0 into 1. But success will follow. Actual annual revenue typically ranges between 25% and 35% of the theoretical maximum. Once you've understood this figure and factored it into your business plan, you can establish a healthy and sustainable business from the very first year and achieve steady growth as your reputation grows. In a functioning system, maintenance is inevitable. Operating costs, the maintenance of the solar energy system, scaffolding maintenance and cleaning between each stay are an ongoing investment that guarantees a flawless experience for every guest. This, in turn, is the key to the 5-star reviews and repeat bookings that keep your calendar full. As you look after your business will look after you. A seasonal manager or site manager earning between $25,000 and $45,000 per season will quickly become your greatest ally. They are the person who embodies the warm and professional welcome that brings customers back year after year and turns first-time visitors into loyal regulars. The money spent on qualified staff always pays for itself many times over. And during the off-season, that is those 6 to 8 quieter months, the most resourceful island owners have long since found the perfect way to continue generating income throughout the year by ensuring their islands are never left idle for a single moment. Here are a few ideas. These are ideas that have already been implemented by others and are working well. During the autumn and winter months, the opportunity to rent out the island as a backdrop for special hunting and fishing permits or commercial film shoots, with fees ranging from $5,000 to $20,000 per season. up to $15,000 for a single day. Whatever the calendar may say, your island becomes a constant source of income. To be chosen, you need to offer your customers something unique. This is the real secret to success in this sector: exclusivity. A private island does not merely sell an accommodation experience, it sells a dream that cannot be found anywhere else. It offers that sense of complete disconnection from everything, something affluent customers desperately seek and for which they are willing to pay the highest price time and time again. To be part of people's most special days, to make them feel special. That is precisely why the savviest business owners are offering a complete experience. Private weddings costing between $15,000 and $60,000 per weekend, luxury corporate events, advertising shoots. Day by day, this is turning into an extraordinary revenue opportunity that an ordinary rental property could never provide. Next up is the marketing side of things. Visual presentation makes a huge difference. A beautifully photographed island on social media can literally double your booking rate. This is a small marketing investment that delivers maximum commercial impact and pays for itself almost instantly. You can even sit back and enjoy the new bookings you've received whilst relaxing at home in the evening. Paying a professional photographer between $1,500 and $4,000, commissioning drone footage, or collaborating with content creators will instantly transform your island into a sought-after destination, triggering a surge in bookings that cannot be achieved by any other means. And these are now essential for a brand that people recognize. Now it's time to do the maths. Let's look at a concrete and exciting example. In Maine, an investor who has put $400,000 into a 2-hectare island, complete with a solar power system, access to drinking water, and a photogenic house, is ready to welcome their first guests and turn their vision into reality. We've worked hard for this. Now it's time to reap the rewards. Whilst purchasing a plot of land is an investment in its own right, it has now become an investment with facilities already in place. Now for the revenue side, let's consider a conservative target. With just 100 nights bookings a year at a rate of $1,200 per night, which is a perfectly achievable target, gross revenue would be $120,000. After deducting expenses, this would yield an annual net profit of approximately $85,000. This translates to a 21% return on investment, a result that would be the stuff of every investor's dreams and one that improves with every season. Not to mention the increase in the value of the land. One island may suffice. The most ambitious operators do not stop there. Following a few years of success, they expand this model by purchasing a second island, combining the costs and the expertise they have gained through a challenging process to build a genuine, diversified, and resilient small island empire that continues to grow year on year. Having learnt from the mistakes made the first time round, they achieve the best possible outcome in terms of both time and money when investing in the second island. So the real question was never whether you can afford to buy an island. The answer is more accessible than you'd think. The real question is whether you're ready to seize this unique opportunity and turn this island dream into a thriving, lasting business. One island at a time, starting today.